Join us in this episode as we update this willow leaf ficus that we drastically cut a couple months ago. Welcome back, everybody. So this is what this ficus looks like now after about 3 months, actually about 2 months of drastic cutting during that early summer. We're getting close to beginning the end of summer at this point, and you can tell it just exploded with this amount of growth. So what our goal is today is we're going to go back and select some of the primary branches I want to extend for the rest of the summer. Yes, a lot of people like, or you can still cut ficus, let them grow, especially in Southern Cal. Because Southern Cal, our growing season doesn't end until almost like November. So if you keep feeding it heavily, water it consistently, you're going to get some really dramatic growth, especially from these really young shoots right now. And the really important part about going back to select those primary branches that I want to develop is that with this much foliage, it's actually blocking some of that growth. It's actually stunting the growth because they're fighting for that light, fighting for the air. It's just fighting for resources. So we're gonna go back, select the one, about 3 branches per main of those main branches or the stubs. And then some of the branches I'm gonna keep, some of these bigger ones in the back, I'm gonna thin them out so most of that foliage is only at the end. Again, it's one of the techniques to thicken those branches at a quicker pace. So let me kind of change it to point of view. It's kind of like late in the afternoon, so I'm going to try to position this where I get some really good light for you guys to look at, and then we're going to attack as fast as we can. And oh yeah, you just need some pruners and some shears, and that's it for this type of work. So let me get to it. All right, a little better light wise. I'm going to get it a little off center here. But this is a lot of growth, and if you don't get to it, what's going to happen is you're going to have these points right here where there's multiple spots or multiple branches that come out. You're going to have some swelling or some knuckling that's occurred that we're trying to prevent from before. You can tell that some of these branches has really grown up from the prior video that you just saw probably this week or last week. You can tell by you got some callus growth here. I mean, you can tell this guy has been pumping and then we shaded this guy out pretty bad. So it didn't have any where I want to be. But I got 1 or 2 branches where I could use. So it's not all lost. This is really, going back, you see how bushy it is really go back and select some of those branches that you really want to keep. So I'm gonna go after this particular one right here first. I'm selecting the strongest one that's pointing in the right direction. So this is a primary branch, so this is like the front. So this is where my front's gonna be, and I don't branch that kind of like crosses that front. I want something really more of this angle, kind of pointing toward the viewer as much as I can. Ideally it should be like right here, but nothing there right now. So I'm gonna try to select a branch that mimics that direction. So I'm gonna just go back and prune the branches that are pointing in the wrong direction first. Okay. Actually, this branch, I have 2 branches right at the edge that's pointing in the right direction. And these are all pointing back into the branch. So I don't want that to occur. And I want all these branches right here. I'm gonna make it I'm going to probably get down to maybe 1 or 2 a little minute there, but I want to make sure that these branches have enough light that they can start extending and producing that foliar growth at this point. I'm going to bend this one down, and I'm going to try to trim some of these branches out. To kind of extend that growth out. So I want the growth only at the ends. Okay, and that's one way to thicken these branches up pretty quick. And I'm gonna actually bend it down and then bend it out of the way. It could be used as a primary branch. It's not a bad spot. Same thing with this guy. Any branches are on the inside, I'm gonna take out. And I might be able to wire this guy too. This is a keeper, and this is a really good branch. It's right in the right spot. And it's healing really well. So it's healing in this perfect spot. All right, I'll just work from now on, and I hope you guys enjoy the video till I'm finished, and we'll cap when I get pretty close. Sorry for the glare. So these branches, it's really too big for the tree right now. If I let this continue growing, this branch is gonna thicken faster than any other ones. So I'm gonna cut them really low to restart the branch. Just restart that ramification as much as I can. So what I'm gonna do is stop its growth by cutting the branches off pretty much. Okay, so gone. So that will slow that front off. And then I got really lucky. I got some branches to reform on the inside, right on the trunk. I'm gonna let these grow as much as I can, because that will help me fill that silhouette a little better. I'm gonna stuff these back a little further, just to keep it within that silhouette. I don't wanna do another drastic cut, and that's really, front's right around there for you guys. So that's almost like a secondary branch. I want to make sure that's really ramified well. This guy will be wired down. If you can see that guy right there, that guy will be wired down. This guy will also be wired down. They're pretty parallel. I'm gonna have to move them sideways like that. So I'm gonna keep trimming it, and then I'm gonna try to get some wire on tonight. And then I'm gonna start really go back to select some of these branches that's not oozing. I'm gonna tie down this guy so it's out of the way, because it's going too vertically. I'm gonna pull it down. It's a sacrificial branch to make sure I have roots on this side, so that's the reason why I'm keeping it. I just need a tie down spot for it. Being cheap on wire. It's growing in the way of this guy, so I'm gonna bend it this way. I'm gonna turn it to its counterclockwise. So I'm gonna reset it, try it again. I'm gonna keep this hole for this guy. That's about the right spot for that guy. So I can bend it. Try this again. Bend it and move it at the same time. I can bend this guy down, bend this guy down, kind of approximate that angle, which is no roots on this side. I really want to support this root growth because it's a strong root that's growing down. I want to make sure that kind of fills in that void underneath that we can't see. That's one of my goals for this branch. Secondary, what it does, it draws more energy towards the main plant, supports it. And then this branch, I don't want to do this because I want to keep this branch. I don't want that scar and that divot in it. So I'm going to do the same technique. I'm going to drill a hole, I'm going to pull it down, but I'm going to use a smaller gauge wire, and I'm going to cover it with some plastic tubing. And now if you saw my videos on the irrigation, all this extra irrigation tube, you can use that. Surgical tube, you have surgical tube. And if you have other irrigation tubing that you can use, that's what you use it for, okay? Same technique, I'm gonna drill a hole and then bend it down and then wrap the wire. It should work pretty well. Wire. This is what happens when you drop your wire down and you can't see it. So loop it through the thing. Preform my wire so I don't kill it. Get my branch that I want through it. Bend, 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 bend. And I don't want to bend it close to its base. I want to go a little further out so I get some leverage to straighten that branch out. Not horizontal, but it's still up and out. And I'll let that grow, okay? I'm gonna do the same thing with this branch and this branch. It's gonna go up and out. And the other ones, I'm gonna let it straighten out. You saw what happened here, if you didn't see what happened. I was rubbing, and then it just rubbed off. That's why I kind of like letting it grow to a point where it's really attached to its base. Hopefully another branch will grow back out here. That would have been a perfect spot. But yeah, it is what it is at this point. But I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna wire these two with a smaller gauge wire, and then I'm gonna let the rest kind of grow. So let me get to that really quick. And this is like guide wire, just another technique you can use, especially if it's in a grow pot. I'm not gonna reduce the root mass on this until probably another year or two. I just want to let it grow unimpeded growth, top growth, before I go after the bottom growth. But that's gonna be pretty quick anyways. I want to wire this one down, but the problem with wiring it down at this stage is you're gonna have some wire scar. But I'm gonna have to just keep my eye on it, and when it gets just thick enough, I'm gonna put some wire on it. I think that is it. Good stopping point. So really quick, just as a refresher, I went back, selected some of the primary branches to grow back in, and I went down to only one branch if possible. Make sure all the branches are not pointing in the same direction so they're not parallel, like bar branches. And then again, just trying to stagger the height as best you can what you got. Cleaning up any of the nodes, clean it down to just one branch. And then selecting anything you want. Any of the bigger branches that I am gonna keep for sacrificial branches, I thinned it out into this giant whip, so the light doesn't block that center mass. And I'm gonna feed the living crud out of this using the fertilizer. Oh, I didn't share the fertilizer I've been using. Grow Power, the 1288. Slow release 3 to 6 months, and I've been feeding this guy like no tomorrow. And I've been using Osmocote, and then I've been using Miracle Grow. So this guy's been like super heavily dewy growth for the last couple months unrepeated. So I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of the summer, let it rest. It should go dormant around December, January. Yeah, usually about December, January, it gets really cold. And where I live, it will turn dormant, lose all the leaves. Just keep it from frost protection. But I'll do an update video right before, probably about 3-4 months, probably 3 months from now. I'll do another update video on this really quick and give you guys what it looks like before we go into that massive spring growth. See how much growth is put out in the next couple months. All right. So again, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. The subscription is really helping out, guys. Watching the videos, guys, you're really supporting this channel. Really thank you guys so much. You guys have a great time. Bye-bye.